Hello, everybody. I hope you are enjoying your weekend. For the Sunday stream, as always, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin. I think moving forward, it's unfortunately still an internal conflict. I'd say it's more of a bullish perspective than bearish, but as we discussed last stream, we still can't rule out the bearish perspective at this time. But we're going to go and start looking at the bullish perspectives that we've been looking at, and then we'll take a look at the bearish perspectives if we can. It's been a little bit difficult for a bearish perspective personally, but once again, let's go ahead and start with the bullish perspectives. So we basically have two perspectives on the bullish case: a regular wave 5 or an extended wave 5. And there's two different variations under each variation itself as well. Let's start with the moderate perspective, the regular wave 5. So the regular wave 5 is basically saying that we're going to end somewhere in this price territory. This is the normal zone for a regular wave 5. It's a bit odd where we are now, because normally we would have a large expansion between this area and then a pullback before it reached into this territory. But this came earlier than expected, meaning it came a lot earlier, just like that, which is not what we expected. So there's basically two ways that I can see this moving forward. The first version, nothing's really changed actually. This is still a sharp zigzag here. Then we have a consolidating triangle that we talked about last time. Then we got that thrust upwards. It could just be an extended minute wave 5, where we had a regular wave 1, a regular wave 3, although it was short in nature and not as strong as we would have expected it. Now it looks like we're going to get a wave 5 that's extended in price and in time. That's the first version that we're looking at. Secondly, thinking a little bit outside the box, which this is a little bit too early to tell as well, we could be in a ending diagonal. More so a 3-3-3-3 structure. Because this does look like a B, C. This is all dependent upon us taking this low and attacking this low currently. Meaning we want this high to hold. We want to see it come down in a 5-wave structure. Or a C wave. Or this A wave. Or this B wave. Or a flat. Once again, diagonals are tricky. Usually we wouldn't allow flats in a triangle, but you know, as the theory has progressed further and further, and with the difficult nature and intricacy of diagonals, I have begun to allow flats within diagonals. But once again, this is pretty early, so it's not something that I'm really monitoring. It's just something that I'm being aware of because of us, once again, the previous factors that I just discussed. We normally would have a longer expansion here before considerable pullback, but it came early. And this does look like a more of a 3-wave nature. And then lastly, we are bullish. We do think that we're still attacking these highs to create more highs. So there is potential for a ending diagonal here to form. It's all valid. It's just a little bit early to call. That's why we are still sticking with this idea here that we are working on a regular wave 5, a regular impulse, where we expect to finish somewhere in this territory. Now, the other bullish perspective is an extended wave 5. There's a few ways that I can see this. The first way is the one that we have been monitoring. Nothing's really changed here. The only thing that's really changed is how I've seen this structure play out right here. Originally, I did have this as a 1, and then a 2, and then another 1, and then another 2. That still could be the play. But this does look more of like a diagonal structure here to me. So I do think that this is a diagonal for a 1. We get one more pullback for a 2, and then we blast off. It's usually pretty rare that we get like quadruple ones before we really make considerable price action. Usually it's limited to about 2 or 3, meaning here's 2 peaks and then we blast off, or we get 3 peaks and then we blast off. That's usually the case for 1-2 extensions. Rarely do we get the quadruple or quintuples out there. So personally, if we are an extended wave 5, I do expect us to start aggressively moving upwards and making higher highs here. If this is an extended wave 5, where we're going to reach that 2.0 and potentially above. The potential that we could go all the way to the 2.618. This really could extend further. Depends on where this wave 3 ends, personally. This wave 3 could truly extend. But taking a look at it now, just gauging where we are expecting it to end, it's already pretty extended. So let's see, extended wave 3. It's gonna end already at a double extension there. So it's already projecting a double extension for wave 3. So moving forward, I think it's safe to assume if we are in a extended wave 5 that we would target this 2.0. But once again, it depends on the strength of this wave 3 moving forward. The second way that I can see this, which is kind of a new perspective, is same thing. It's extended. It's just a different structure. This is the most favorable to me, mainly because we didn't really make a considerable new high that is visually seen. But you have to understand that we did make a new high. Albeit it was only by like $20 or $30. We did make a new high, and we did take that high. So it's technically a valid impulse, meaning this could just be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just for a wave 1. Then we start correcting downwards for 2, push up for 3, correct for 4, and push up for 5. Or that extended wave 5, where it would bring us beyond this 2.0 target and more into the territory of the 2.36 or that 2618. Now, timing wise, it is a little bit extended for a minute degree. It's not that extended though. Again, these are mainly just guidelines on when we expect a correction or pivot to occur in price. So it pretty much went just beyond that, just a little bit. So at this point, we can really expect a major pivot in price to occur, either down or up. Personally, it looks like we might head down based off of this structure. However, taking a look at our other structures, it looks like we might even just push up again. So it's tricky, honestly. The way that this is played out here, this structure, has made things pretty difficult because it failed to take this high, and it barely just took this high. If it would have just taken this high, that's something that we could have played around with. But at this time, it does make things difficult. Now, from a bearish perspective, extremely tricky. There's really only 2 things I can see, and they are pretty forced in my opinion. The first way develops based off of our current structure that we've had. Nothing's changed. This is still a W. This is still our X. They're still both flats. The only thing that's changed is the perspective for our Y wave. We were first looking for a zigzag. Then we were looking for a triangle, because that was the most probable based off of the theory. The most rarest that we would expect would be a flat, and unfortunately it looks like that we may be getting a potential flat here. Although, I'm not sure if we could really even, truly call this valid, because it did take this high. So, it's a tricky one. Personally, I wouldn't call it valid anymore, because we do want this price extreme to stay intact, this X wave. It's just, there are such things as double flats, there are, but usually that Y wave flat will be a regular flat, because it won't take the price extreme of that X wave, the termination of that X wave. So that's why I'm not sure I can really even monitor this moving forward. It's a very tricky one. The only other thing I can think of is something that's really more too early to call, and it goes off of the 1-2-1-2 idea that we were looking at the past few weeks too. That was proposed by Ollie. Basically, pulling off the idea that this is a 1-2-1-2, and then the 3-4-3-4 is happening now. The only thing that I can see is that we would be pretty much playing with some type of flat pattern. A, B, C. There's different ways that you can look at this. Either you put the A right here, or you put the A right here. Either way, it just depends. You can have it right here, where this is the A, B, and then you get the C wave. We get those 5 waves up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you can put the B wave right here. Then we expect that push down, or that C wave. Or, if you want to put the A wave right here, we would extend this correction further. So we got 5 waves up, then we get a correction down, then we get a continuation 5 waves up, take this high, be an expanded B flat at this point, then we start moving down for that C wave. We take this low, and then start moving up. And this will give meaning to the intermediate correction too. This would definitely be an intermediate correction timeline. Once again, it's pretty early to call this, but it is valid moving forward. That's why the bearish perspective isn't too strong right now, because there's a lot of forcing going on and a lot of early calls. And then, just from a market structure perspective, we are still trending upwards. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. We might make a brief change in market structure here, where we get that corrective 2. We take these relative equal lows right here, just a brief change, but it might just be a liquidity grab just for fuel to move forward, to take those highs right there and continue that bullish market structure that was created from this pivot. So that's why the bullish is more, or the perspective is more bullish at this time, just because of those factors. Once again, we can't completely terminate or eradicate the bullish or the bearish perspectives, but we're going to put them on the back burner like we've been talking about. Moving forward, I'm still going to monitor these main ideas. This is still my main idea moving forward, that this is just a regular wave 5, and we just have 2 more significant highs to make. 1, 2, just 2 more significant highs before we have a, once again, larger correction for that intermediate wave 4 that we were just talking about. So if we're moving forward, we want this low to be maintained. If we're bullish long term, we really want this low to be maintained. That's pretty much everything I've got for today. There's really not much more to update. We haven't had any significant changes in price action. The only thing that's been changing is that our bearish perspective is diminishing. But I'll continue to monitor this and continue to update you guys. And if you have any questions, I'll try to respond to you. I've been extremely busy these past few weeks, and I do apologize about that. But I'll continue to try to answer you guys and be with you guys. But I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for your patience, and hope you guys have a great weekend.